This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any health or lifestyle changes.
Welcome to Conversations That Heal. If your doctor says you're fine, but your body says otherwise, for example, you're maybe gaining weight that doesn't make any sense, aches and pains that seem to be for no reason, maybe you're waking up at 2:30 a.m. and your brain just won't stop, or you're struggling to push through those tasks that you used to handle without even thinking about it. Well, you are in the right place. I'm Tracey. I spent years as a personal trainer. I looked very fit and healthy on the outside, but on the inside, I suffered from weekly ocular migraines, fibromyalgia, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, and so much more. Every doctor told me I was in range, and so I had to become my own detective. And what I found changed my life. Now I sit down every week with real people who bring real tools around food, sleep, movement, nervous system support, and all that quiet stuff you doom scroll through Google in the middle of the night. Every episode, we explore different perspectives or practices to help your body improve naturally. So take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Your body isn't failing you. It's trying to tell you something. So before we get into today's conversation, click the link in the description and download my free resource, 4 Steps to Finally Feel Like Yourself Again. All right, so let's get into it. Welcome to Conversations That Heal. I'm Tracey Mail, a health empowerment coach. And tonight I have my special guest, Nadia Qasmieh. So happy you're here. We spoke last week and I'm really looking forward to our conversation tonight. Nadia is a mind-body coach and career strategist with over 15 years of experience helping high-achieving professionals not just to succeed on paper, but to feel steady, confident, and embodied in their day-to-day lives. So bless you. That is so needed. So again, welcome to the show, Nadia.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. All right, so
Thank
let's
you.
just start with you. Tell us about who you are, what you do, how you help your clients, what got you into all of this.
Sure, yeah. Thank you so much, Tracy, for having
No
me.
problem.
And it's so good to be here. So, who am I? Personally, I would start by saying that I'm a homeschooling mom. I have 2 kids, and I've been homeschooling for 7 years now. A lot of the time that we spend is not on subject matter, but more on like how to be human, right? How do you feel big feelings? How do you regulate your nervous system? And, if you get overwhelmed, if you get triggered, how do you move through that? So I would say 90% of our time homeschooling is really focused on that, focused on how to build character and how to kind of develop skills like initiativity and, um, how to be a good human, really.
Right? Yeah,
Um,
that's so lacking. So that's very good.
yeah. So, in terms of my professional life, I am a somatic practitioner at the moment. I've spent 15 years doing personal branding, executive branding, career strategy. I still do executive branding with somatic work. So my work is basically helping professionals, high functioning professionals, executives, and even like just everyday people, find a way to feel a little better with what they have available to them. So understanding what their capacity is, meeting them where they're at right now, and helping them move forward from that place instead of kind of having this ideal image of what it is that they want to be and striving for that. We kind of come back to the body, to presence, to see what's available for us and work with what's there. Because I feel like that is a much stronger foundation to build on. And it's much more sustainable. It doesn't burn us out. We don't quit after a while. So that's what I do. Somatic work is for people who don't know, it's a bottom-up approach to
Mhm.
healing and transformation. So that means that
Okay.
we use the body as an entry point to healing and transformation, as opposed to just working with the mind. So
Right.
we want to integrate the mind and the body. So in the end, ultimately, I think what we need, what we desire, what we work towards is having a state of coherence between the mind and the body.
Right.
And on a practical level, how does that look? It looks like um, what you think, how you feel, what you say, and what you do, all matching, all lining up. So
Okay.
if you feel a certain way, if you think something else, and then your actions are completely different, there's an incoherence happening there. So,
Right.
somatic work, the thing I love about it is that it allows us to create that harmony between the
Mm.
different parts of us. And it's beautiful work. I started doing it on myself. I love the training because the training is on ourselves first
Right.
to
Right.
kind of experience the transformation, to be able to work with others and understand what they're going through because we've already gone through that.
Absolutely.
So it's very transformative, and a lot of people now are hearing about it. So they're very curious,
Yep.
and yeah, I just love having conversation with people about what somatic work is.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. I love that. I know you're really into heart math as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yes.
So we can talk a little bit about that. But I do want to bring up what with somatics and you talk about your energies and stuff like that. Do you do shadow work? Are you into that at all?
So shadow work is really about, from my understanding, it's about facing or just shining a light on the parts of us that we shun, that the parts of us that we're ashamed of,
Right.
the ones that we not necessarily even are conscious of sometimes,
Right.
things that we've kind of put in the corner, like we don't want to deal with it. So shadow work is all about kind of bringing that to light and integrating it. So somatic work is a lot of that. It is,
Right. Okay.
so I do, in somatic work, there are a lot of modalities. There's a lot of different approaches, different practices. What I love is somatic parts work. So we do a lot of parts work. So looking at different parts of us, the parts that we like, and then the parts that we don't like very much,
Mm.
and integrating everything. All parts are welcome, and all parts are, they are there for a reason. Some are to protect. And even the parts that we don't necessarily like, they're there for a reason. So we learn how
Mm.
to appreciate them, have some compassion towards them, and bringing them back into our whole being because we don't want to fix ourselves. First of all, there's nothing wrong. The body's
Right.
working the
Exactly.
way it's designed to. And
Mm.
second, we don't want to kind of resist anything that we don't like because the more we resist, the louder it gets.
Yes.
So what we want to do is make it feel
Mm.
heard, make these parts feel heard, make them feel appreciated, and just find a way to integrate them by what I do is I work with the energy of the part of the shadow part, where we kind of take that energy and redirect it into something that is more meaningful for us or something
Okay.
that serves us better.
Nice.
In physics, we know this law of conservation of energy where energy is not created nor destroyed, it just changes form, right? So
Right. Okay.
that's the kind of concept that I like to work with, where all these parts, the good, the not so good, they have energy to them.
Mm.
And what we want to do is we want to understand them and help these parts say, or identify or figure out where else would they want to use this energy if they're not using it to protect us in a way that we don't want to be protected
Mm.
anymore. So it is a redirecting energy work. So
Okay.
there's that work. Heart math, you mentioned heart math. Heart
Hmm.
math is actually, it was my entry point to somatic work,
Okay.
to mind body work. Um, so when I started doing heart math, I didn't know that I was in a constant state of anxiety, like chronic anxiety. I thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
normal. I
Yeah,
thought,
that's not funny.
yeah, because you're kind of like a fish in water until you get out of the water
Get out
and
of the
be like, okay,
way. You flip it
there's
around. Yeah.
it's different, there's a
Yeah.
a different way to live and a different way to
Yeah.
be. Um, so I started with HeartMath, trying to kind of understand my state, my baseline,
Mhm.
and work with their techniques to shift my baseline out of anxiety. And I love HeartMath because it provides very, very powerful self-regulating tools, tools that we need to, when we're in the moment, on the go, something happens in a meeting where we can't just kind of disconnect and go meditate,
Right,
for
right.
an hour. We can't do
Just I'll be
that.
back to you. Just yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So these tools are really, really helpful in the moment where, something is triggering, something is activated in us. How do we kind of come back to regulation and come back to our center to keep showing up the way that we want to show up and be present and connected. But then, after I started training in that and working with people with that, I just got more curious. There's so much wisdom in the body. There's so much intelligence
Never
in
ending.
the health. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that got me curious. I started researching. I studied energy healing. I studied feng shui. I don't know if I mentioned it to you before, but I love
Love feng
energy
shui.
work, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
everything flows,
Hmm.
and if it doesn't, that means something's blocking it. So, kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
working with our space, working with like our body, our mind,
Mm.
and then after that, I also got curious. I'm like, there's something more. So I just stumbled upon somatic work by chance, and I studied somatic attachment therapy. I studied somatic parts work. I did mind body coaching, and now I'm doing somatic experiencing as well. I'm training in that. So it's a different way of looking at stress and trauma in a more physiological way. So somatic work is really using our physiology to shift our psychology. So instead of working with how we think and how we feel, we're shifting our physiological state to positively affect our psychology, the way we think and feel.
Okay. Can you give it more of like give them an example more like a personal, not personal, but a real life example of what that would look like? Just to make
So
it very clear.
yeah, so a lot of people have tension in the body,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
tension in the neck, tension in the shoulders. So we have in the body, there are obviously, depending on the person's experiences, everybody holds tension and stress differently in the body.
Right, right,
But there are generally more parts in the body that hold more. Um,
right.
so we have the head area, so like the
Hmm.
eyebrow, eyes area. We have the jaw. There's a lot of clenching happening. Shoulders and the neck. There's a lot of tension there. Sometimes the chest, sometimes the pelvic area, the hip area, the lower back. So these are generally places that people feel more tension. So so what I mean by shifting physiology to shift psychology. So if somebody, for example, is an overthinker, right? Like
Hmm.
there's so much happening,
Right.
and that's causing anxiety, that's causing stress. What we do is we go down to the body and see, is there anything happening there? Is there any
Mm.
tension happening? And sometimes we see like the shoulders are kind of scrunched up. And just
Yeah.
by, using the breath, um, slowing down the breath and attuning to what's happening here, we can release some of that tension, some of that pressure
Yeah.
that's living in the body. And obviously we want to have this be done organically. So we can
Right.
shift our breath to regulate ourselves, but we want to always encourage people to just sit with and obviously resource and build capacity to be able to kind of release that tension. And just by doing that, just by shifting the way that your body feels. So physiology is just the way that the body functions. It includes our heart rate, our blood pressure, blood flow, includes our unconscious or automatic breathing patterns. It
Okay.
includes our muscle tone. And so these are all functions of the autonomic nervous system. That's what we
Right.
work with.
Right.
And so by paying attention to that, going back to the example of like releasing tension in the shoulders,
Hmm.
the mind starts to slow down
Right.
and the racing thoughts start to slow down. So we're not really focusing on the thoughts and be like, okay, you got to clear your mind because
Good luck.
that is
Yeah.
so difficult.
Yes.
Like a lot of people
Yeah.
sit to meditate and they're like, I can't
Yeah.
clear my mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
there is another entry point. Like if the mind
Yes.
is like kind of going and it's difficult to
Yeah.
reach that moment of silence and peace, then we try other things.
Right.
And the body could be a way to help with that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you listen to feel your heart, right? Put your hand on your
Yeah.
heart, focus on that. Think
Yeah.
about your breath. Get your head soon to bring it back. Think about your breath. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to do all because I was the same. Just my
Yeah.
brain would not stop. And we used to always go to the chiropractor, they're like, okay, chiropractor, sorry. And they would tell me, you've got to put your shoulders down. Like,
Mm.
this is them down. Like I was so tense. I kind of giggled when you were saying because you're like, the clenching jaw, the headaches, or the pressure in the head, across your shoulders, in your stomach, in your hip flexors. I'm like, yep, 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 yep. And I had all of that. So yeah, it's like, my goodness, I completely get what you're saying. And I absolutely understand how hard it is to just, because people say, oh boy, just do this. Like, well, no, you
Mm.
can't just do that when you're
Yeah.
in that state, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
100%.
yeah, so if you deal with high stress professionals or that kind of thing, so how do you get them from being uh,
Mm.
in a way that's not overwhelming and a lot, right? So it's just
Oh.
yeah, like you say, you're in a meeting, you want to get rid of your stress quick. Is that just breathing, or like how do you get these
Mm.
people to baby step it out of that
Mhm.
state?
Yeah, so I do want to say that it is different for every
Oh, of
person
course. Of
because,
course.
yeah, I just wanted to preface with that because,
Yeah.
so I lead group workshops and then I do one-on-ones and there's a different dynamic that
Of
happens there
course.
and
Of
different
course.
content that we can cover. So there are general things that we can advise on and things that kind of work, but what we encourage people to do is to listen to their body and to
Right.
respond to tell us how the body's responding with these practices,
Mm.
because every nervous system is different. So to answer your question of like what do I how do I help people kind of get out of that stress mode, like so it's really survival mode.
Right.
um,
Yes. Yeah.
it again, it depends on the nervous system. Sometimes the nervous system is hyper. So it means
Right.
that,
Okay. Yeah.
there's a lot of energy. There's a
Mm.
lot. So these states include anxiety, frustration, anger. So there's a lot of energy happening. Um, and then there's a hypo state where it's more of like a shutdown, a collapse, a freeze, more of
Right.
like a disconnection. And I do work with different people who have different states as their baseline. And then there are some people who um, yo-yo between the two. So in
Right.
one
Yeah.
moment, they're feeling anxious and when they're activated, and then it's too overwhelming, so they just kind of disconnect and shut
Shut
down.
down. Right. Yeah.
And then a little bit later, they kind of go back and start getting frustrated
Yeah.
and then kind of go back. So it's it depends on
Yeah.
what is happening there in the nervous system. So
Right.
we sit together and we kind of go through different questions, different scenarios for me to kind of understand what is happening there.
Mm.
Um, because depending on that, the practices are going to be different.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
I
for
get that.
somebody who's shut down, you don't want to prescribe meditation, for example. Like you don't want to tell them
No.
to like sit still because they're already sitting still, right? They're already in
Yes.
freeze.
Not helping.
No. And then, for somebody who's anxious, you can't kind of a very intense
No.
exercise is not going to help. It's going to defeat the purpose. So
Right. Right.
um, it depends. And generally, though, we do work with the breath. Most people are okay with the breath. I do have to say that some people might not feel safe with that. They don't like to tune into their breath, which is completely fine as well.
Mhm.
So we try to find other ways to regulate. One way, if, for example, if the body's not a safe place at the moment,
Right.
we can go to the environment. We can orient. We can
Mm.
start. Attuning to what's there, looking at different things that are available to us in our environment, picking up on the colors and the textures
Right.
and the different
Smells.
objects,
Yeah.
um, and noticing our body right now, like in space, for example, where am I
Right.
sitting? And then also looking at um, how far is the screen from me, for example, or
Hmm.
how far is that car, or just kind of orienting to the environment to help us
Right. Right.
come back to presence if the body is not a safe entry point to heal.
Right. Interesting.
And so the most important thing, though, I would say foundational work is resourcing. So the first step I would do with somebody is to help them find resources
Mm.
that they can tap into to feel slightly better, to start sensing relative safety, a sense of safety there. So there are external resources, there are internal resources, and we want to
Hmm.
have access to both. We don't want to
Right.
rely on one all the time. So we would identify something that makes them feel good. Um, it could be a warm cup of tea and just
Yeah.
being present with that, being present with the warmth in their hands,
Mm.
and then just sensing the way that the tea kind of flows in
Right.
and
So
but the
warm.
key the key here, yeah, the key is presence though. It's not just doing
Right.
the act.
No.
Because we can do it all, but if we're not really attuning to what's happening in the moment when we are doing it,
Mm.
we're not getting the benefit of it.
That's right.
So
It makes our nervous system feel safe by being present, right? It knows
yeah,
it kind of helps you get out of that fight or flight state, right?
yeah.
I know from my own personal experiences with all of this. So I would have been a perfect client for you
Uh,
because yeah, I went through all of this. And I
yeah,
don't think you're ever truly over it, right? There's
yeah.
always those little things that keep creeping back up. It's like, no, no, wait, stop. You shake it off. You have those little somatic things, right? You shake like a dog, you get rid of that tension, or you do your
Mhm.
breath work, or you get present. And it just signals that you're in a safe space and your body is like, okay, I don't have to be protecting you right now, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
yeah.
yeah? Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. I do have to say, like, you reminded me of when I started my healing journey and I had a really powerful session with a coach and therapist and it was amazing and I felt
Mm.
like I'm healed. I've done the work. I'm complete,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then, little did I know, I think I
Yeah.
mentioned it's like an onion. You kind of you're peeling off the
Yes.
layers.
Yeah.
But also to kind of a different way of looking at it is that it's cyclical, right? Like it's a cycle. It's an
Yes.
upward cycle though,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we're not really in the same spot as we were, even if
No.
that trigger or that activation comes back.
Yeah.
We're coming at it from
Different.
a different state of being, right? Like
Exactly.
where our nervous
Yeah.
system now is
Yeah.
differently rewired and But yeah, like it is a process and it is
Mhm.
layered, and the body shows you what needs to be addressed in the moment. Like things
Yeah.
unfold, right?
Hmm.
If the body is not ready, it's not going to show you the thing that
Yeah.
you want to work on. So I actually had a client a couple of weeks ago ask me, "Do we really have to do all the resourcing? Can't we just get to it? Can we get to the issue itself?"
Yeah, it's
I'm
not.
like,
Yeah.
we can't go too much too fast. Like
No,
that's
no.
overwhelming. That's
Yeah.
re-traumatizing for the nervous system. So what
Yeah.
we do is we have to make sure that we create that relative sense of safety in the body so that the body opens up and is able to kind of show
Hmm.
you what's there because it is protecting you. There's a
Yeah.
lot of vulnerable emotions that are kind of shielded from you. And that's what the
Absolutely.
body is doing.
Yeah.
And we know like in the sessions that I do sometimes, we do a resourcing, a grounding, activating a sense of safety and all of that. And then we go to the place where a not so good emotion lives, and the
Hmm.
body's like, nope, I'm not ready.
Not real. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so we kind of go
Absolutely.
back and we do more of the safety work, we do more of the resourcing
Mm.
and then we kind of go back to it and be like, okay, so now I'm showing you a little bit. And
Yeah.
then so this technique I feel is that's a pendulating technique in somatic experiencing. So it's kind of like
Mm.
going back and forth between the good feeling
Right.
to kind of fill yourself up with good
Mm.
energy
Yeah. Yeah.
to kind of make contact with the not so good as much
Right.
as possible without overwhelming, and then kind of going back to the good and filling yourself
Mm.
up again, and then going
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
and kind of
Patience is
tiptoeing.
key. Yeah.
Yes,
You
yes.
have to be patient with it. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. We're
yeah,
in that lifestyle of push, 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 especially a high achieving professional, right? We don't want
yeah,
to wait and, oh, well, get there. Let's do it.
yeah,
Go, go. But that's what got us in this place in the first place, right? In that
yeah,
position. So,
100%.
yeah.
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 Anything that's rushed, that's fast. I mean, like what
Yeah.
comes to mind is fast food, right? It's
Yeah.
convenient, it's fast,
Yes.
it's there. Is it nourishing? Are you really getting, nourishment and,
Anything. Yeah.
anything out of it? It's actually making
Yeah.
us sick. And
Yeah.
so now we know that we do have to slow down, as uncomfortable as it is initially.
Yeah.
Slowing
Yeah.
down is really important to um, be with what's there in the body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You talked about the different modalities, and I know, like, again, for myself, I have a vagus nerve stimulator.
Mm,
I use that in the morning still every day. That's my go-to in my morning. I have my coffee and I have that. That helps, again, just try to regulate my nervous system a little bit with that. And then I
mm,
have a vibration board that I use every
mm,
now and then, which is pretty cool. I
yeah.
have to be careful with it. If I get on too long, it messes me up. I can feel it's
Yeah.
like I have to get off this now. It's
Yeah.
crazy how your system tells you like too much, right? Just like you were
Yeah.
saying, right? And
Yeah.
then I think I told, maybe I didn't, but I'm seeing an energy clearer. Did I tell you that? Energy healer?
No, I don't think you
No?
mentioned it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm seeing someone here to help with that too. Just unblock the old energies, the
Yeah.
negative stuff from life, right? So that has been trapped in there to help, again, just get things flowing. I used to get that
Mhm.
energy, everything on the same path. So
Yeah.
it's crazy
Yeah.
how things work. You can think, oh, that's a woo woo, or people might think that doesn't work, but you go through the session, and if you go too much, it's exhausting. Like I
Yeah.
have a couple days later, I'm wrecked if she does too much
Mhm.
at once, right? It's
Yeah.
shocking to me. It's one of
Yeah.
those things you can't see it, you can't feel it in the time, in the moment, right? That's energy is just
Yeah.
so interesting to me. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah. Everything is energy. Emotions are
It is, yeah,
energy. Emotions are actually
absolutely.
energy in motion, right?
Yep.
That's one thing I speak about in my
Mhm.
workshops. It's how emotions are meant to stay in motion. And what happens
Yes,
is
yes.
we tense right? We stop the process, and what happens with that energy is that it gets trapped in the body,
Mm-hmm.
and that turns into tension and chronic pain and diseases.
Disease.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's once we start attuning to and becoming aware of the sensations and the energies in our bodies, on our bodies, around our bodies, then we can start discerning what's good for us and what's not good for us. Like
Right.
the body is communicating every single
Yes.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Are we slow enough to listen to it? That's the
Listen. Yeah.
question.
Yes.
I do have a an opinion about devices.
Of course.
Um,
That's okay.
I don't know if it's going to be a popular opinion, but
That's
I
okay.
I honestly, like, there's a lot of technological advancements, there's a lot of biohacking
Mm-hmm.
happening, um, and there's a lot of great work happening. And I feel like the body is the best technology we can ever own. Like
Right. Right.
this is a technology in and of itself.
Yep. Of
And
course.
I've used devices before to kind of tell me when I'm stressed and when I'm not stressed and all of that.
And yeah. Yes.
Um, but
Yes.
But then
I
I started
felt that.
depending on them,
Absolutely.
and I
Absolutely.
started disconnecting from the attunement that I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
build.
Mm-hmm.
So I put everything away and I started just working with the body and just attuning to the signals that the body is giving me.
Right.
I started intuitive eating as well, so I
Mm.
would which is very difficult. I would I have to
Yeah.
say that,
Yes.
but it is a process. So it start with like one ingredient meals. So I would,
Yes.
steam sweet potatoes or any other ingredients, and then but one ingredient at a time, and then I would
Yeah.
kind of stand close to it and feel into my body. What is my body
Mm.
telling me? Is it like at peace? Is it kind of calm and comfortable, or is it agitated, or is this like there's this kind
Mm-hmm.
of um nervous energy there? So I would attune to that. If it's
Interesting.
you know kind of giving me a peaceful, comfortable feeling, I would have a couple of bites, and then I would kind of wait and see how my body's reacting, and how
Yeah.
do I
I like
feel,
that.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do catch myself when I'm eating something that is really yummy and sweet. I kind of like want to eat it as fast as I can so that I don't get the signal. It's like, I'm enjoying
About
this
this
right
pain.
now.
Yeah. Hilarious. Uh,
Yeah, but like sometimes, slowing things down and waiting for that signal, right? I think I
mm,
don't know, a lot of people have heard that we get full before we feel full, or before
yes.
the
Yeah.
mind tells us that we're full, right?
Full. Yeah. Yeah.
So we should really stop eating before we feel full. But like, how do we feel that if we're not really attuned to the body and kind of
Right. Yeah.
what's
No.
happening there?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just I mean, this kind of goes back to what you're saying about energies. It's all energies, it's all
Yeah.
felt. And just a comment about like how after the work, that's when you feel exhausted.
Mm,
The nervous system needs time to integrate and to kind of
right. Right.
reorganize. Okay, so something has happened. Maybe I release, maybe, something is happening, and I need to kind of find my new place now. So that kind of takes
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
But if it's like really exhausting, that's a sign of we've done too much too fast.
Right. Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we have a concept called titration, which is like small little bites.
Okay.
That's always the best way to go to kind of
Right. Of
gauge
course.
um, what the nervous system is able to handle in any given moment.
Right.
So
Right.
a little bit at a time is better than like,
Always best.
yeah.
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 Good, good, good. Absolutely. And I must say, when it comes to devices, when I agree 1,000%, like when I like my vagus nerve thing because it goes in my ears. I
Mhm.
like it. But
Mhm.
when it comes to smartwatches, and I just had this conversation with somebody else the other day, this girlfriend, and I was saying it's funny. you wake up, you think, oh, I slept great. You look at your watch and it says it wasn't like, oh, I didn't sleep. What? Right? Or you go for a walk and you realize you don't have your watch on. It's like, oh, this was a waste of time. It didn't get counted towards my steps. Like it's the
That's true.
funniest things, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so funny to me, but we do it. We've lost trust in our own instincts with that, right? We rely on this silly thing to tell us how we're feeling. It's like, man, just listen to yourself, right? So I agree with that completely. We gotta take it easy with those things for sure.
Yeah, so true. And
Yeah.
yeah, about the vagus nerve, um, I learned a technique from Peter Levine, the founder of somatic experiencing.
Okay.
And it's a very, very simple technique where you're really activating the vagus nerve without any devices. You
You
know,
humming? Is it
yeah,
humming? Or is it?
he found that the sound VU
Oh,
um, activates the parasympathetic
okay.
nervous system and the vagus nerve. So it allows us to go from this sympathetic, which is like the survival, fight, flight,
Right.
into more of the ventral vagal state. And it's just basically breathing in. And then as you breathe out, you just say VU as long as you can. So
Hmm.
um, if you want to just do this for like
Yeah,
a
of course.
moment,
Of course.
so we can just take a breath in and then say VU as you're exhaling. VU. And then just notice the
You c-
vibration that's happening in the
Yeah, you can
body
feel
and
it
the
through it,
gut.
right?
Yeah, and then you kind of sit with that and sense into it and then do it again. And then again tune in and see what's happening there. But
Mhm.
generally, I've been using this with some of my clients and a lot of people really, really love this technique because it's
Yes.
very simple. And
Mhm.
I suggest doing this before eating anything because it's really important that we are in a state of relaxation when before we consume
Yes.
anything,
Yep.
to aid
Digest.
digestion and
Yeah.
to help with the process. So, doing that VU exercise,
Mhm.
it calms the
It
system.
feels calming. Like just doing
Yeah,
it feels calming, right? That's
yeah,
funny. Yeah.
yeah. It
Yeah.
yeah, and just integrating these little different techniques and exercises into the day.
Hmm.
So, when I mentioned there was different like somatic practices and modalities and approaches, there are like the more meditative ways of dealing with this, which is great. But we can't always meditate. We can't always like
No.
take time and disconnect. So integrating these things, another one is very common is heart focused breathing. That's a heart
Mm.
math technique.
Right. Okay.
That's the first step um, for many of their techniques, but it's just basically um, imagining that the breath is flowing in and out of the heart and you're finding a rhythm that's comfortable for you. So you're just tapping into the heart and activating that. That's also very calming, very regulating to do. So yeah, those could be like simple techniques that people can start trying and just
Yeah.
notice how they respond.
Mm.
Some people might like it, some people might not, and
Mm.
not every technique is for everybody.
No, exactly. That's
Yeah,
everything is so personalized, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
and that you can do it when you're driving, you can do it, when you're sitting at your desk, you can do it
yeah,
anywhere in the shower.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah, so that's the beauty of those kinds of things. So
yeah.
very good.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been great.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was fun
Okay.
chatting with you.
I'll have to do it again. I really enjoyed talking with you. So
Likewise.
before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would want to share or any words of wisdom or anything that you didn't
Um,
get to say?
I think we covered a lot.
We
But
did.
I would say that. The body is on our side. The body's
Yes.
not against us, and it's doing what it needs to do, given what it has.
Mhm.
So, always, going back to awareness, attunement, seeing what's there, working with what is, and not really forcing any changes
Right.
onto our bodies, being really gentle, appreciative of the work that our body's doing, and just try to find some self-compassion because a
Yes,
little self-compassion can go a long way in this process. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Good. Nice. Nicely said. Very good. So if somebody listening wants to work with you or, get something from you, look at your website, whatever, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. They can look up
Okay.
my name. I'm on LinkedIn. I also have a website. It's courses.embodiverse.com.
Okay.
And I offer one-on-one sessions. I offer 6-week packages because this work is ongoing.
Yes.
People would benefit a lot more with more of like a long-term
Absolutely.
commitment because the body will start showing us some new paths forward, and we can work with that. And yeah, I'm on Instagram as well. Not very active on there, but they can find me on there as well. And
Nice.
yeah.
Good. Fantastic. All right. Well, I will make sure to have all of your links to people can reach you in the show notes. All right. So,
Thank you.
um, yeah, everybody just go there if you're looking to find Nadia. Um, and for yeah, so sorry, thank you. I lost where I was going there. Thank you so
Okay.
much for being here again. And anybody listening, if today's episode resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation that heals. Thank you for listening to the Conversations That Heal. If something in this episode helped you feel seen or gave you one small thing to try, that's your next step. Start there. Gentle, sustainable, and at your body's pace. If you want more, check out this video next. Remember, your body isn't the problem, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We're just learning to start listening to it again. So stay well, and we'll see you in the next conversation that heals.